Good evening, all. I'm Alex Tremaine. I'm an old man that builds Gundam. Welcome to the stream. Hey, Shitty, how you doing? Apologies first for missing the for the lack of a Saturday stream last week. It had been a very long week, and I was absolutely shattered and not really in a place to do some streaming. But there will be one this week unless there are any major issues that come up. Hopefully that won't be the case. As for today, hopefully we're going to finish this ReZEL today. I think we're very close to having the second backpack configuration finished. So hopefully we can get to the end of that today. At which point we will move back to the full armor unicorn on stream, and I will get to play with some of some of my other toys off stream. There has been a minor impulse control failure this week. I do now have a second LED lighting unit for the so I now have a lighting unit for the Perfect Grade Unicorn and a lighting unit for the Perfect Grade Banshee Norn. So that'll be fun. It means I can do one of those off stream and one of those later on stream to show people how they go together. In the meantime, this ReZEL needs finishing. Yeah, I managed to mostly restrict my my impulse control this month to just the lighting unit. We'll see how that goes as the month progresses. Certainly, I have no shortage of stuff to build here. As previously mentioned, once the unicorn is finished, we will be moving on to the Perfect Grade Strike Freedom Gundam, which looks very exciting. Right, I guess we get on with this thing. So, are you, should you not be watching wrestling at the moment, Shitty? That's very kind of you for the host, thank you very much. I actually managed to catch up on some wrestling this week. I now only have, I think, 17 shows that I'm behind on in Stardom now. So, you know, the number's going broadly down a little bit, slowly, maybe. Hey Mini Mojo, welcome. Oh, yes, I just whacking the table with my chair there. Apologies. Yes, I do not doubt that match is going to be ridiculous. Yeah, 17 shows. We're currently catching up on the very last shows from February. Got about 3 shows left, 2 or 3 shows left from February. They're mostly short shows, and then it'll be the big Nippon Budokan show for the beginning of March, and then I've just got to get through March and now most of April as well. So, but Stardom crank out the shows. There's no stopping them over there. Mini Mojo, how you doing? Right. So when last we finished, we had built one of these little openable missile packs, and we need to build another one. I'm doing well, thanks, Mini Mojo. It's been a relatively sane week at work, which is always nice. I mean, it's been a little on the busy side, but not cripplingly so. not been too massively overloaded with meetings either, which is quite nice. There was only one major one for the week. I can survive that. And other than that, it's another long weekend coming up, which is nice. It's nearly Friday, which is also nice, which means I can just stop at the end of the week. Gonna try and get out into the garage over the weekend. Do a bit of work on the car. I've been looking at new workbenches for the garage as well, which is exciting. But that'll probably be a next month thing at this stage. Was there anything else we need off this sprue? Yes, we need 4 of these. So yeah, it's been a decent-ish week. As I was saying to Shitty, I've caught up on some wrestling. I think this long weekend we're gonna sit down and catch up on a few more shows. Probably spend a couple of evenings or afternoons getting through a few shows. Where did that go? It went here. It did not go on the floor. Excellent. Come on. Just get off the sprue. There we go. And we also need this. But yeah, the long weekend is a very welcome thing. I am not getting up on Monday morning is going to be a highlight. Cannot complain about that situation. Those can go back up there. Actually, in a Nando's? I mean, have Nando's been delivering? I kind of assumed that all of the sort of major chains had been delivering in one form or another. Let's move to something a little less ambient. I'm struggling to remember the last time I actually physically went into a restaurant. It's well, it's certainly sort of 18 months ago at the very least. I think it was a little bit before that as well. That the last time I actually went into a restaurant was. I got to have a bit of a drive last weekend, which was why there was no Saturday stream. We were for various reasons we had to be out and about. I mean, not actually outside, out and about. but we had to make a journey. I didn't even leave the car on this particular occasion, but it was nice to take a blast down the motorway, put my foot down a little bit, get some get the car properly warmed up for a change. I think the last time I had Nando's was ironically before a wrestling show. There were a couple of wrestling shows we went to in a place near Stratford Circus in London. Can't remember the name of the venue. The venue might have actually been Stratford Circus. Yes. Anyway, there's a Nando's nearby, which we ate in a couple of times. That was nice. Nando's and wrestling. Though you talking about chicken, does bring to mind the fact that I have a freezer full of stockpiled frozen meat that needs eating. I might see if I can drag out and defrost some meat this weekend, and maybe do a bit of a slow roast on Sunday or Monday. I haven't done a slow roast in a while. I think I've got chicken thighs, belly pork, lamb shank, all sorts in the freezer that needs eating up, because the freezer is almost completely full, and it would be useful to cycle through some of the stuff that's in there so that we can get different stuff. But yeah, I haven't done a slow roast for ages, and that sounds actually really very pleasant. So this one goes, oh no, we need PC1. We need one of the rubbery bits. No, not one, I, PCI. There we go. This goes in. Oh, for God's sake. This is where having enormous fat fingers does not help. Come on, in you go. Don't make me have to get the tweezers out to get you in place. There it is. Right. So this then goes in here, like so. And then these go on here. so. And then this. There's nothing else that needs to go in there, is there? No. This all clips together like so. And then we need P2 and P3, which is these two. I think if I were going to actually go to a restaurant, I think the first restaurant, I mean, assuming it's even still open, because I don't know if it's survived, but there's a really nice sushi restaurant in town here. Sushi and sashimi. I haven't been to for ages, and I think that if I were going to go to any restaurant, that would be the one I'd want to go to. But as I say, I haven't checked to see if it's even still there. I hope it is. It was really good. And there's few enough interesting restaurants around here in the Midlands. That's unfair. There are interesting restaurants, but certainly Oriental cuisine that isn't Chinese is not necessarily the easiest of things to find around here. I remember living that kind of existence, Mini Mojo. When I was growing up, lived in. It wasn't I wasn't living in a village. It was a sort of medium-sized town in the middle of Wiltshire. But it was, you know, it was a local town for local people. And you know, the most exotic thing that it had in there was a Chinese restaurant, and and as I discovered when I left home, a frankly mediocre curry house. I am thankfully now somewhere a bit more metropolitan, and I have more in the way of options around here than I did back in those days, for which I am very grateful. But yes, I don't envy you. I don't envy those limitations. It's always so weird going back to my parents. And being like, you know, a single Chinese that doesn't deliver as the only option in town. I don't know if it's still the case, but certainly it wasn't long ago that even their pizza places at my parents didn't deliver. You know, it was collection only for pizza, which is frankly a very strange concept in my mind these days. I don't know how people cope without delivery pizza. I don't remember how I coped without delivery pizza. I mean, there there was definitely a time, even here, where sort of where I lived in a pre-dominoes world. It wasn't long after I left home that we got a Domino's here, and then a couple of other options, Papa John's and the like, you know. Not that I would willingly give money to Papa John's anymore, knowing what we know now about the ownership and their opinions on the world. But there was a time when I used them. Hey, Two Quick Builds, how you doing? Yeah, I think it was Papa John's. I'm doing alright, thank you. Not doing too badly at all. It's Thursday, I've got a short day in work tomorrow, and then it's a long weekend, and I am very happy for that. It's the Maybank holiday Monday, and I will not be getting up, and that is the best thing that you can possibly do on a Monday morning, is sleep through it. I need something for drying off. Wrong one. Right, we are working on hopefully this will be the final stream of building the master grade ReZEL, and I am currently working on the second of two little openable rocket packs. So this one goes on like so. Yeah, sanding's fairly straightforward as long as you've got a decent sanding block to work with, you know, something hard and flat upon which to put your abrasive paper or whatever it is you're using. I know a lot of people swear by glass files. It's certainly something I'm contemplating having a look at some point, because they are hard and flat and most importantly cleanable. I've gone with the wet and dry option, because it gives a really nice finish, but it depends on what you're doing with it. I mean, if you're going to be painting over it, then it's just a matter of getting a decent surface for the decent flat surface for the paint to adhere to. Yeah, it is something I need to look at some point in the glass files, but I've been finding the wet and dry has been giving me an excellent result, particularly as I'm not painting anything. I need as clean a finish on the plastic itself as I can manage. But you don't need to. I mean, before I went down the wet and dry route, these are literally lollipop sticks, of which I have like 2,000 because that was the smallest number that I could buy them in. And I've just been attaching finishing paper to, this is Tamiya finishing paper, to the back of these, but it went through the Tamiya finishing paper real fast. It loads up very quickly, which the wet and dry lasts a lot longer. But obviously, given that the wet and dry is wet, I needed something that was not going to soak up the water as the backing. So these are just a brass rule that I'm using, because the brass won't corrode, and it's very hard and flat. I've not used the glass ones, but my understanding is that the glass ones are cleanable. Glass is massively harder than plastic, so I wouldn't expect them to. I don't think it's going to be a case of them wearing down. I think the only potential problem you might have with the glass files is if they actually get so loaded up with plastic that you can't clean them properly. Would be the only situation in which you'd have to replace them. But it's glass, so you're going to be able to get the plastic off without too much difficulty, I would have thought. I don't think you're going to need to replace them tremendously often. But as I say, I'm not working from a position of knowledge here. I was about to say that I know Shitty uses glass files and he might have an opinion. Yeah, I mean, glass is a very versatile material. I would have been surprised if it was difficult to clean them. You can use all sorts of solvents safely on glass to get them clean if it does get too stuck in there. I mean, worst case scenario with glass, you probably just, as long as you don't get the temperature too high and melt the glass, you could probably just burn any plastic off if it really gets stuck in there. I appreciate that, Shitty. Was the Anno match everything that we hoped it would be? I would agree that sanding sponges are nice. I haven't got any at the moment. I did have one, but it wore out. There we go. Right, so we need T9 and 10 twice. Too quick as far as skill goes for sanding. There's not. You will very quickly catch on to what works best for you. The critical thing with sanding is that always remember that you can remove material but you can't put it back on. So you take your time. I mean you see how long I'm spending on it here. I'm trying to get a really nice surface because I'm not painting this. As Shitty said, you start with something low grit, something quite coarse. This is 320 grit that I use for the first pass, to just get it down to a level surface. And then you go up to something much finer grit. My second pass, the black file here is 1500 grit, and then I use 7000 grit to get the really smooth finish. But 1500 grit is for a while. 1500 grit was the finest I was using, and it got good results, you know. And that was with the Tamiya finishing paper, not with the wet and dry. It's just a matter of taking your time. Make sure that you've got whatever that you've got your abrasive mounted on is a flat surface that is easy to manipulate and can get into the spaces that you need to get into. I found that this sort of lollipop size width lets you get into most of the spaces on a Gundam. If you've got 350 to 7K, that is everything you're going to need. I would do as your first pass, I would probably choose, next time I restock on coarse paper, I'm probably going to choose something a little bit less coarse than this. I would probably choose to do a first pass as sort of 500-600 grit, and then yeah, just work from there. It really depends on the result you want to get, but as long as you remember that the abrasive is there to do the work for you. Yeah, you don't be pressing too hard. You want to be pressing hard enough on the surface that the abrasive is working, and rather than sort of doing firm passes, you do more slightly softer passes, and that gives you more control over what you're doing. It's weird trying to describe how I do it, and you know, my technique may not be may not be what works for you. But as I say, just take it easy, and as you practice it, you'll work out what works for you best. Yes, yeah, it's I know what you mean there. It's not like using abrasive to get rust off things. I mean, just to, I guess we can get you an idea. So here we've got a nub mark just here. I don't know how clearly this can show up on the camera, but there's a nub mark just here on the edge, which needs taking off, and the first pass is just literally softly just keeping it flat on the flat surface until now it's a level, but come on, stay focused. It's a level but coarse surface now. White is probably not the best colour to be trying to do this on with you. Sadly, we'll have some coloured parts to go over it with again in a bit. And then you just keep doing slow passes until it gets to the sort of place you need. For a smooth finish, you don't want to be going in the continually going in the same direction, because you'll put sort of channels in. So once I'm on the wet and dry, I do try to sort of go in circles where that's an option. Obviously space is doesn't always permit that. And then again for the final pass, it's just gentle, and you just let the paper do the work itself, or the glass, or whatever it is you're using. You let the abrasive do its job. They sand differently. I've not had any real problems. You don't need to oh yeah, where am I? Here it is. Come on. As you can see there, we've got a nice sort of mirror shine there on the edge, and then this can go onto here like so, as the cover for that section. I found the ABS is a little harder, but again, the same technique just works. You just have to do slightly more passes sometimes. I've yet to have to sand any of these soft rubber parts because they are always concealed. You've got to be slightly more careful on the translucent plastic, just because scratches in the translucent plastic show up just more. So I just take a little bit of extra time on those. But I've yet to encounter a plastic that is problematic in any way. And whilst I imagine many people will probably disagree with me on this, but I don't tend to do too much work, if any, sometimes on nub marks that are going to be covered by other parts. If they're not going to be visible, then I just leave them be. Because life is too short and I want me a robot. I mean, if it was something where, you know, it's gonna have, I have erred on the side of caution on multiple occasions, and unnecessarily cleaned parts that, you know, were never going to get noticed, as it turned out. But, you know, where particularly with this, all of the dark grey parts here on the inside, all of the nub marks are just completely covered by the light grey and the white outer shell on it. So, you know, you spend your time on the bits that are important. You can absolutely get the shine back on translucent parts, with sort of fine grit paper or whatever you're using. Fine grit abrasive, you can absolutely get the shine back on translucent parts, with a little bit of patience. It's the other thing it helps to have is a buffer. This one is frankly nearly dead. I need a new one, but these are really good as just a very last step if things haven't come up cleanly. Certainly when I was using the Tamiya finishing papers, I would be using the 320, and then I'd use 1500, and then I'd finish up with the buffer on this, and that sort of the 7000 grit pass has substituted for this. But sometimes I still use this to get that final finish. It gets a little bit more difficult if you're doing a rounded part. Here we've got a nice, this sort of surface here is a nice flat plane upon which one can rest a flat piece of abrasive, which is really great. It makes things much easier. Sometimes you will not have that luxury, and then you've just got to be, sadly, the answer is always more patience. I'm afraid. certainly as I have continued to build these, my build speed has gotten slower and slower, and it is largely to do with the amount of time I've spent finishing the parts. First build I did this real grade unicorn here. I just cleaned up using a knife. Didn't even the Tamiya finishing paper hadn't arrived, and I couldn't stop myself from digging in and just getting started on it. So still came up all right. I mean, it has the advantage that it's all white parts, and nub marks are white parts are by far and away the most forgiving of nub marks. You can get away with stuff on white parts that you just cannot get away with on something like a dark blue or a strong red. Right, and then this slips on here like so, and we have two hinged parts. And then we just need to finish this one. Yeah, I burned through that real grade full armor unicorn. Took me, well, I don't know, I wasn't counting at that point, and I was on holiday because it was just after Christmas, but so I don't know exactly how long it took me, but it didn't take me anywhere near as long as the second build. I mean, the second build was perfect grade, but even so. Second build I was already sanding. Third build was also a perfect grade, though a slightly less finicky, I think is probably the best word for it. Second build was the was the Zeta Gundam, perfect grade Zeta, which you can just see here in Wave Rider mode. Third build was the perfect grade Strike Rouge, which is just in the background here. The Zeta Gundam is a weird old thing. It's full of springs and screws and tiny sprung pieces of metal and other weirdnesses. Sorry. Knock the table there. But certainly by the time I got to the Strike Rouge, I was already sort of well on my way to this sort of process for dealing with sanding. Right, so we now need to build 2 more missile pods that are sort of half the size of these. So let's grab the parts we need for this. So we need what else have we got left on here? There's just these one part left which isn't being used here. Okay. Little hinges are over here. Right, that can go back up there. What else do we need? Right, just this for the moment. So again, all of these knob marks are going to be completely hidden one way or another. So I am not going to worry about them too much. Or, you know, at all. When I start building perfect grades again, I will probably end up being a little bit more picky again, and do at least a little bit of cleanup on even nub marks that aren't necessarily going to be visible. But for the moment, this can go as it is. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this comes out. I have really enjoyed this build. For something that was literally just originally just a thing I grabbed because it was available, it looked cool, and I wanted something to build. Ironically, I wanted something to build off stream. This has been so worth it. Right, I currently have 3 perfect grades sitting here waiting to be built. The intention was that after the master grade full armor unicorn is finished on stream, that the next on stream full build would be the perfect grade Strike Freedom Gundam. But in the meantime, I have, through various means, both because, well, I slipped and accidentally bought the perfect grade Banshee Norn, because at the time I had been intending to pick up the perfect grade unicorn, the regular white version, but I really struggled to get hold of one, and I've managed to find a Banshee Norn available, and the place I got it from also had the lighting kits available for the unicorn and Banshee Norn, so I grabbed one of the lighting kits as well. I was like, well, it's not exactly what I wanted, but awesome. It's very close, and it'll still look fucking cool, you know. And then about less than a week later, the place I got the Banshee Norn from restocked the perfect grade unicorn, and unbeknownst to me, my lovely wife grabbed the unicorn for me. So I ended up, through unbelievable kindness and tolerance of my wife, I ended up with the unicorn as well, which was why this month I bought another lighting kit so that they will both have lighting kits. But by the time I got the Banshee Norn, I'd already started building the ReZEL in my sort of off stream, and I want to get on to building the Banshee or the unicorn. But the last thing I wanted was to have 3 kits on the go, particularly as one of them was going to be a perfect grade, which is why the last few streams have been trying to finish the ReZEL rather than trying to finish the unicorn, because the ReZEL was supposedly my off-stream build, and in addition to that, the ReZEL was actually closer to being finished than the unicorn, because although the unicorn although there's not much left to go on the unicorn, sort of the Gundam itself, it is the full armor version, so I then have like 50 million beam gatlings and shields and God knows what else that need building on the a rocket sled and things that need building on the to go with it. So the unicorn's actually noticeably further away from completion than the ReZEL, so started using some of the stream time to try and get the ReZEL finished so that I can move on to building one of the unicorns. either the unicorn or the Banshee Norn. I've not decided which I'm doing first. Right, so that's those built. Now we need to build 2 of these, which is T7 and T8. And T2, which is this bit. Yeah. Actually, let's just, because we're going to need these parts anyway, because they are the covers. So let's just strip these off now, and then we can weep for sprue tea, for it is no more. And we have a second sprue tea, which we will also clean off, because getting dead sprues out of the way is very helpful. I've got to say, the LED lighting units for the perfect grade unicorns are real impressive looking. I was surprised by how here we go, LED lighting unit, and it's some serious looking pieces of the kit. A whole bunch of sort of prepared units and little wires and connectors. So I'd be interested to see exactly how that goes together inside the kits. Right, so now I've created myself a little mess here. Let's clean it up by building some parts. Yeah, I'm definitely going to build one of the the 2 unicorn kits on stream. I haven't decided which one. One of them is going to be just, I'm going to build off stream just for me, and the other one I'm going to do on stream, because I think it's going to be it'll be a really interesting build. To put together, you know, and an interesting build for people to be able to see go together, you know. So I don't know which way around that's going to be. But whichever way around it is, I think I will stick to my initial schedule. I think what will happen is I'll finish the Unicorn, the Master Grade full armor, and then to have a break from Unicorns, I'll do the Strike Freedom on stream, the Perfect Grade Strike Freedom on stream, while I build one of the Perfect Grade Unicorns off stream. And then I'll do the other Perfect Grade Unicorn on stream, either the Banshee or the regular Unicorn on stream, after the Strike Freedom. Well, this is the so this just goes together, that's fine. The Master Grade full armor is the third Unicorn based Gundam I built, because I've got the real grade full armor Unicorn. I've built a, you can see just here, that's the Master Grade Banshee, not the Banshee Norn, just the Banshee, which has the enormous gun arm and claw arm on it, and then the Master Grade full armor Unicorn. So yeah, I think this ReZEL has been a nice sort of break from that form and format, and as I say, there's the Strike Freedom, which I don't imagine will be a small time investment, and that'll sort of allow everybody to sort of maybe forget a little bit about. Yeah, I strongly recommend the real grade. I think real grades are just really good in general as kits. I really like the real grade Unicorn. The full armor version is fun, but it does come with a lot of extra stuff that makes it a little bit more expensive. There is a real grade Banshee Norn, which looks very cool, and obviously the base unit is very similar to the Unicorn, the regular Unicorn. There we go, one of those. And the detail on the plastic parts is very high on the Unicorn, on the real grade particularly. I mean, this has been panel lined, and you can see just how much detail there is in the surface of the plastic on here. There is actually way more detail in the surface of the plastic here than there is on the on the master grade Unicorn, like by miles. The surface of the master grade Unicorn is positively smooth in comparison. Enjoy your walk. So I've been talking about trying to do some more gaming streaming, and at some point I'm going to have to, you know, actually make good on that. Picked up some things over the weekend or end of last week that that may well make it onto possibilities for streaming. One of which is I picked up the Battle Group VR, which is a sort of space battleship real-time strategy, or real-time, it's more real-time tactical game, but I need to work out the technical side of getting a VR game to actually output to stream. I know it's doable, I just need to work out how to do it. So I might be doing some little technical tests over the weekend, particularly given I've got Monday off for the bank holiday. In addition, there's been a Stellaris DLC, and I'm absolutely considering doing some Stellaris on stream. And I also picked up the X4 Foundations DLC, which likewise looks excellent, and that might be interesting to do on stream. What kind of thing do you look for in an MMO? What's your MMO jam? Big into PvE. Do you just enjoy the grind? Do you want story? What's the goal here? Do you just want a fun, pretty Skinner box, or do you want something that's going to give you that's going to tell you a story at the same time? Story and lore and everything. What kind of what kind of mechanics are you looking for? Are you looking for a sort of first-person shootery MMO? Or are you looking for more of the sort of traditional mouse and keyboard and detailed stuff kind of MMO? Right, well, I can make some recommendations. Some of these are from personal experience, some of these are from having watched people stream the games. Star Wars The Old Republic is actually really good. Think of it less as an MMO and think of it more as play it and treat it like you're playing a Knights of the Old Republic game. Pretend that it isn't an MMO. Just pretend that it's a single player game, and it's excellent, and there is a lot of really good storylines in there. Played that for quite some time. It was excellent. I've recently been, to my shame, digging back into Star Trek Online recently. I wouldn't necessarily recommend Star Trek Online unless you're a big Star Trek fan. Mechanically and graphically, it's not that great, but it feels like Star Trek, and it's got some good story stuff. Stuff that I have watched a lot of streams of. Final Fantasy XIV just seems to be one of the best out there right now. The only reason that I do not have any personal experience of Final Fantasy XIV is that I just do not have the time to sink into it. Just don't have the time. If I went for Final Fantasy XIV, I would disappear off the face of the earth. And that would be it. But by all accounts, and certainly from having lived vicariously through other people playing it, Final Fantasy XIV is incredible. So yeah, those are the ones that leap to mind. Star Trek MMO is, broadly speaking, free to play. There's a lot of pay for cosmetic stuff in there, and there's a lot of sort of high tier stuff that you can pay for, but you can absolutely access all of the story stuff without spending money. Similarly, it's been a while since I've looked at Star Wars, but last time I played it, you could. Star Wars was, broadly speaking, pay for convenience rather than pay to win. It was pay for convenience and pay for cosmetics, and you could do most everything with fairly minimal cash input. Final Fantasy XIV, I believe, is just straight up subscription. I think there is a free to play component, but my understanding is that it's just, if you're going to play it, you should get a subscription. Strangely, when it comes to MMOs, the MMO that I have sunk the most time into, by a long shot, in that I was active. I was active as part of a reasonably major alliance for 10 years, was EVE Online. I played EVE Online for a very long time, and I loved it to bits, but it doesn't fit your... Certainly PvE in EVE Online has never been its strong point. If PvP in some form is not your jam, EVE Online is probably not the tool for the job. But it is excellent. To this day I log in every now and again just to see how it's doing. It'd be really nice to get some of the old Alliance people back in, but also EVE Online is just no good as a solo game. You need other people to support you in EVE Online, otherwise it's very dull. Yeah, traditional MMOs have just gotten prettier, and I think more story focused. Even like WoW is a little bit more story focused than it used to be. I mean, obviously WoW is still there, you know, people still play WoW. I've never played it myself. It's not really a setting that caught my interest, but it does the job. Many people swear by it. Yes, I have played Baldur's Gate 3. I bought the early access like a few days after it became available, because I think I had to wait for payday if memory serves. And it looks really cool. I sunk sort of 20 hours or so into it, and then decided that I would just put it to one side until it was finished, and then go back to it once it's released and play the whole thing through fresh. But yeah, it made a strong positive impression, and I love Baldur's Gate 2. Never really got on with Baldur's Gate 1. Baldur's Gate 1 had the problem that it was running using basically AD&D second ed, and actually low-level characters in second ed were real dull, particularly, well, it's so bad on if you're actually playing pen and paper, but I found being level sort of 1 to 7 from Baldur's Gate 1 really painful. It was only sort of, you only really got fun stuff when you hit level 5 in second ed D&D. Baldur's Gate 2, however, started you where you left off in Baldur's Gate 1, so it was just excellent. I mean, obviously you don't have to know not knowing what you're doing doesn't matter. The game will tell you in tutorials. I mean, Baldur's Gate 2 and that era, tutorials weren't as good. Baldur's Gate 3, the tutorial is fine. It will tell you everything you need to know. I would say the same with, if you're looking for something like that that's finished, the Divinity Original Sin games, particularly the second one, which made some real sort of quality of life improvements on the first one, are excellent. There is also Torment Tides of Numenera is pretty good. And similarly has a strong tutorial that will explain everything you need to know. What else have we had more recently of that type of game that a little further back, but the Pillars of Eternity was very good. For the, I mean, the computer games are very much designed so that it doesn't matter if you haven't played tabletop. Don't worry about it. Oh, how could I forget? The Dragon Age series. Dragon Age Inquisition Dragon Age Origins, the first one, in particular. I've not played Inquisition, I've heard it's good. I enjoyed the second one as well, some people didn't. But Dragon Age, just in general, excellent series. Similarly, what I've heard is that the first one was the strongest, but the Inquisition was very good. You played Inquisition? Yeah, 100-hour campaign. I mean, that's kind of what I expect from that style of game, you know. From that style of full-on Western RPG style, you know, Baldur's Gate-esque. In the style of Baldur's Gate or Neverwinter Nights or whatever. 100 hours is kind of what I expect from one of those. It's just the way it is, sadly. Well, sadly, you get a lot out of it. You get a lot of bang for your buck. And that is no bad thing. Yeah, I've completed... I mean, I completed Planescape Torment about 3 times, I think. I completed Baldur's Gate 2 and its DLCs twice. I completed Dragon Age Origins twice. I haven't finished Torment Tides of Numenera yet. Keep meaning to go back and finish that one. But yeah, it's just there's a lot of hours in them, you get a lot of value out of them, and they really tell a story, which is always nice, you know. Which is broadly what I want out of games, is for them to tell me a story. Not always. Sometimes the mechanics are the reason to play the game. You know, puzzle games and strategy games and the like. But I mean, even some strategy games tell a story. Stellaris particularly is all about telling the story of the empire you're building. Oh yeah, what are we getting? Ooh, interesting. shall have to have a look for that later. Okay. I've not really played with any of the entry grade ones, are they? I've heard positive things about them. I've broadly been sticking to real grade, master grade and perfect grade for myself, because I'm kind of a masochist. I mean, I only really got into this at Christmas, or just after Christmas. I think I've mentioned before, technically my first builds were back in 1998 when I was when I picked up some of the I don't know if you saw Shitty's build of the high grade EVA Unit 1, but I picked up Unit 0, 1 and 2 back in 1998. I don't have them anymore, sadly, but those were technically my first Gunpla. But from a sort of practical perspective, I started off with the real grade Unicorn just after Christmas. So I've done all right, you know. I've finished 2 perfect grades, a real grade and a master grade in that time, and hopefully we'll finish another master grade this evening. My wife's been building the super deformed line. She's been trying to, she hasn't got a complete set, but she has been trying to pick up as many of that line as she can. They're kind of neat. She's also got a couple of, she wanted to move on to something a bit more complicated, and she's got a couple of frame arm girls, I want to say, kits to build. Looking forward to seeing how they turn out. Right, so this can go in like so. fits on like that, and then this this is going to need cleaning up. Hoping that these nub marks were going to be hidden, but they're not. They will be visible for all to see, which means they have to go away. I will at some point go back and panel line everything I've got. I've panel lined the real grade unicorn, and I've started panel lining I have started as and when I've had spare moments with when I haven't had time to bring out the sort of get fully set up with to build. I've been trying to panel line the master grade unicorn as I've gone. Got the torso and head done on that. I will certainly be panel lining this at some point, because oh no, the nub marks are invisible. Well, that's useful to know for the next time, for the next one. Because yeah, this is going to look really nice panel lined. There's nothing extra to go on there. So have we? No, this needs doing. I mean, I'm afraid I'm doing the panel lining I don't know if easy way is the correct way to describe it, but I'm doing it I do my panel lining with the fine tip panel line markers, which I've been finding reasonably satisfactory. I would like to do the panel lining with, I would prefer to do panel lining with the Tamiya liquid panel liner, but it's enamel so it stinks, and I don't really have I don't really want to be having to do my panel lining in the garage, which is the only place that I've got that I could realistically ventilate properly to support that. So but I've had pretty good success with the pen. I think the real grade unicorn came out alright panel lining wise. Yeah, I've been using the black. I think at some point I will get some of the other colours. I think trying the grey on the white, as people generally recommend, I think will be something to give a go. I think the black looks fine on the white, but I would be inclined to agree that it might look that the grey might be slightly less jarring. So I'll give that a try at some point. Yeah, I can believe that. I think the black may be... I think the black may look comparatively better on something like a perfect grade than it might on something smaller. Though, saying that, let's just right, there we go. Saying that, you know, I think the panel lining came out pretty well on this. It's certainly given it a nice striking look. Right, so what is next? Next is P13 and 14. We are killing off sprues left, right and centre today. Yeah, I think you're right. The lining on the unicorn does really emphasise the sort of transformation parts very nicely. That, and then we need S10 and 11. Those are on here. See. Okay, well let's do some things here. So this lives on here like so. This lives on here like so. Let's cut these down. Right, so and there's the last one. I'm looking forward to seeing the I think the next, once I've done the master grade unicorn, I think the next thing to be panel lined will be the Strike Rouge. I think that'll really pop with panel lining. It already looks great. I think panel lining will just really set it off. Yeah, right, so this clips together like so, and then it needs 10 and 11, which are these two. Going back to what we were talking about, sanding different plastics. One thing I have noticed is that different colours of plastic sand very differently. Well, not very differently, but there is a slight difference in the there is a slight difference in the hardness of plastics depending on the colour. These dark greys, for example, feel a little bit harder than some of the other colours. Not an enormous amount, but just a touch. Oh yeah, what do you got? Delivery, I hope. Ooh. What have you, what's arrived that you're going to have to sink your time into? I'm afraid my knowledge of Gundams is not necessarily the best in the world. Which one's the tell me about the G40. Oh wow, okay, cool. I'm assuming it's, is it the I'm assuming if it's 40th anniversary it's just a 40th anniversary version of the God, RX-78, is it? The one from the original series? It would make sense for an anniversary one. Cool. Ooh, Zaku 2. Well, same series. Right, so we have a hinge thing here, and then the this then fits on here. And this didn't miss anything on this, did I? No, okay. So this sits on here, and then this clips into here, like so. Oh, and an HG ashtray. I do like the ashtrays. I nearly got one of the ashtrays. I can't remember which one now. But I did look at ashtrays at one point. It was when I was looking for, I think it was a master grade ashtray I nearly picked up. I think it was when I was actually looking at this kit. I do not regret picking up this kit instead. I will get an ashtray at some point, but I really hope they make a perfect grade ReZEL at some point, because this has just been, this kit's so good. It really deserves a perfect grade. This is fantastic. I mean, what I would say about this, the ReZEL kit, is by far and away one of the best quality molds. I mean, given I have a lot more of this to be able to show, this is what the rest of it looks like, because we are quite close to the end. Finish is pretty good. But it's also been, the quality of the molds has been really high. Everything has just matched perfectly. Everything is just lined up perfectly. There's been very little sort of minimal flash on the parts. I've not had to fettle any parts to get them to fit right. It's just gone together perfectly. First time, every time, which is more than I can say, for example, for the Master Grade Unicorn or the Master Grade Banshee, both of which have a couple of parts that needed some real some significant material removing in order to get them to sit right. Just worse tolerances on the molds on the Master Grade Unicorn variants, which is a shame, because the real grade Unicorn tolerances are excellent on that. Very precise kit. But you know, not everything can be perfect, I guess. Well, I guess it could, but I guess there are models that they decide to save money on. The ReZEL is not one of those models that they decided to save money on. Yeah, the ankles are weak on the Master Grade Banshee and the Unicorn. You've got to get them to just not that they're not weak in that they break, but the ankles just don't stay in the position you put them in. They're very easy to move, the ankles, unfortunately. It's a real shame, because I actually like a lot of the design and build of the Master Grade Unicorn and the Banshee. I think particularly the torso is very well constructed, and I think the legs are very well constructed as well. I think the design on the legs is actually possibly a little bit better than the mechanical transformation process is possibly a little bit better than on the real grade, actually. And again, the transformation on the torso of the Master Grade Unicorn variants has a very positive feel to it. It all just sort of firmly clicks into place, but I found there were several parts on the arms that needed fettling in order to get them to sit right. There was a lot more sort of sanding and finishing of some visible parts because the molds just weren't terribly clean, and some surfaces needed smoothing over, and as I say, the ankles just move too freely, which means you've got to get the balance of the model exactly right in order to get it to hold in position on its legs. Otherwise it just bends at the ankles and falls over if the weight is not evenly distributed. Which is a shame, but it is what it is. Right, so this needs these. Now the only thing left on here is The fitment for a stand I do not have, so we will just take this off the sprue so that we can get rid of the sprue. Because that is the death of sprue F, and we will just stick that in the box for safekeeping in case I ever bother to get a stand. Which I guess could happen. The only stands I've got at the moment are ones that actually came with kits, so it's just the one that came with the Strike Rouge that currently holds the currently got the Skygrasper space plane fitted to it. Quite good though, the stand can be repurposed for any part of the Strike Rouge. This feels like we're nearly there. From memory, there's not a great deal of stuff left. Well, there's not a great deal of space left that could go on the backpack, to be honest. I'll do a brief assessment in a second of what I've got left sprue-wise. No, we've still got a whole bunch of parts. What the heck are they going to be? Right, so this then sits on here. This clips together like so. This clips into there, so that we have two matching versions. We've already done this part. So I see. Okay. So we need R8, which I think is the last part on sprue R. Yep. Two sprue R's, and therefore 2 parts R8. Come on, off the hanger. And that is the end of sprue R. I'm fairly certain that these nub marks are going to be completely hidden, which is rather nice. And therefore I care about them only insofar as they are properly flush with the rest of the surface. So these are going to go in this way round. Right. So there is a slot here and an opposite one on the other side. This protrusion and this one need to go into this slot and this slot. So there we go. That holds that in place. Now let's tidy up what these, how these boosters are sitting. Make sure that they're even. Right, so that's done that. Then these parts need to sit into there like so, and into There, like so. Also excellent. Right, so what happens next? Next, these get to sit like so. Yeah. Stay. God damn, this is a lot of mech. It's difficult to find somewhere to hold it by. So, here we have a more complete version with hinged wings and this enormous Ready Great backpack on the back, which is frankly insane but really very cool. And it does, it's all articulated. So that all works very nicely. But as far as I can tell, that was essentially it. So we've got a beam saber blade and the little cylinders on the back of the hilts of the beam sabers. That's fine. Ah, I see. We have weaponry. That's what we're missing. We have weaponry and... is this a shield? I guess? Okay. What time are we on? We're at 5 to 10. What do we have left to do here? It really is just the weaponry, isn't it? And then we can... and the rest of the manual is how to transform it into its hairy plane mode. Okay. I think at this point five to 10. I suppose it's not. I did start late. No, you know what? We're going to be sensible. We are going to be sensible, and we're going to call it. We are going to stop here for the moment. I will go through, and I will probably build the. I'll probably build the weaponry off stream, but we can we can have a little demonstration of the transformation process next stream, because it looks kind of cool, frankly, how it transforms. But yes, I think it looks like there's some fucking stickers and other bits and pieces that are gonna just sort of push things a little far. On that one for the evening, I think it's just going to be a little bit much, and I could do with getting some sleep, I'm afraid. Anyway, thank you all for the company and for watching. Let's just see if we can't. Let's do this one. Hey, there we go. We have a completed, broadly speaking, completed Gundam with all of the with all of this backpack. It's I think this has come out really rather well. I'm still nothing so far has stopped me being dubious about this particular design choice. I don't know who made that design choice, but somebody thought this was a good idea, and they put it on the mech. I suspect it's part of the transformation process. I think something probably hooks under here when the transformation happens, but it does not make it look any less weird when it's in Gundam form. When we're in mobile suit form, that it's got this enormous great hook cock on the front of it. Did you have a nice walk? But yeah, I think this has come out pretty well. As I say, I will do the weaponry off stream, I think. I don't really have time to finish the weaponry this evening, but it's equally not something that's going to take a huge amount of time. Hey Shitty. Yeah, I think this looks really fucking badass, frankly. Let's just do this properly. You know, we've got all these rocket pods. It seems rude not to have them open. Yes, Lemon Ice Cream Boy is here, and he is pretty much complete. As I say, there's a gun and a shield that need building that I haven't really got time to finish off this evening, but the backpack is now complete, and it looks frankly great. So I think this is, I'll tell you what, this has been one of the most satisfying builds I've done, I think. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it in this configuration or if I'm going to go back to the first backpack configuration that it had. But either way, I think this has been... I would strongly recommend this kit to anybody. It's just fantastic. It's really very clever. And it's a... It's a lot of kit, you know. You get a bit of a closer look at it on this camera. It's it just really looks good. I'm incredibly pleased with it. Just need to really like this to sit evenly on both sides, but I can play with that later. How'd the wrestling go? Did you are you caught up on New Japan now? Right, as I say, thank you all for the company. It's been a good evening. Victory has been achieved, or as close as it comes to victory at this stage. As I say, the weapons is by turns not much and a little too much for this evening. So I will complete those off stream, and next stream we'll just run through the transformation of this into hairy plane form, and see how that looks. But in the meantime, I hope you all have a fantastic Friday. I shall be back Saturday evening, UK time. I will be starting approximately 7 o'clock. I don't have to go anywhere this Saturday, so that should actually be able to start on time. So yeah, 7 o'clock start, Saturday evening UK time, run through probably till about 11:30, particularly given it's a long weekend. It doesn't matter if I oversleep a little bit on Sunday. I can fix my sleep schedule on Monday. VODs are on the channel, previous builds are on the YouTube link is on the Twitch channel. Anybody not familiar with Shitty or Too Quick, they both stream. You should check out their channels also. I think that's probably everything for this evening. I hope you all have a fantastic Friday. For those of you in the UK, I hope you have a fantastic long weekend for the bank holiday. Hopefully I'll see you before the bank holiday anyway, because I will be here on Saturday. But other than that, take it easy, and I shall see you in the future. Have a good evening, everybody.